The pot fall away, it leaves that slug of metal, that tungsten round going towards the target, no explosive on the round at all, just by the sheer kinetic energy. In other words, the welly behind that piece of metal, it will smash its way through the enemy's armour, and it does an awful lot of damage. So it was a very accurate gun, and you can see they put a sleeve down the barrel. The reason for that is if you had a cold wind blowing on a hot barrel on a cold day, it might cause the metal on one side of the barrel to chill, and that might, just a fraction of a millimetre, cause the barrel to bend. And if you're firing at a target 2 kilometres away, that round might go banana shaped and miss the target. So they insulate the barrel, and they even have something called a muzzle reference system on the top of it. You can see on the end they have a mirror, and that just checks that the barrel, they fire a light to the mirror and back into the tank, computer registers whether it's got any droop or any bend in it. All of that because the whole point is to make sure you're firing an accurate round at the enemy. Now the turret armour, very, very thin. This particular one's got added armour, you can see bolted on the side. This particular Leopard tank was sold to the Canadians. And we always like this story because it's part of our story here at the Tank Museum. Everyone thinks they're never going to need tanks again. Now the Canadians in the year 2000 decided they didn't need tanks. They bought Leopards many years before off the Germans. They got rid of them. We put up our hand here at the Tank Museum and they very kindly gave us 2 Leopard tanks. Hence the maple leaf on the side of the turret here. Then the Canadian army went off to fight in Afghanistan, suddenly realised they dropped a real big one and went back to Germany and bought another load of Leopard tanks. Luckily they didn't ask for these 2 back from us. So, but for us it's part of that continuing story of everybody thinks we're not going to need a tank again for some sad or peculiar reason we always seem to. So Leopard's still in service in a lot of countries around the world. Now inside this tank, 3 guys in the turret, 1 guy down the front. You've got in the turret the commander looking out for where everyone's going. In front of him sits the gunner. He's got the fine controls on that 105mm gun. He's putting the crosshairs on the target, and he's got a foot pedal he presses to fire the gun. On the other side of the turret is a loader. And if you ever have to pick your own tank crew, always pick a loader who is short, stocky, plenty of muscles, built like a Russian shot putter, because the rate of fire of the tank will go down as the loader is getting worn out. Because these rounds he's putting in that bridge of that gun are big and heavy, so he's got to have plenty of muscles. Driver's right down the front of the tank now, on his own. We don't have co-drivers' positions after the war, and he's got a seat that if he comes under fire, he pulls a lever, the seat drops down, and he looks out of glass periscopes as he's driving along. So inside there, 4 crew members, engines in the back, and this was a very successful tank. Built originally for the German army, lots of countries bought them, and the Germans very cleverly improved on them. So they've got more armour, more protection, bigger guns, but the real clever thing is they've kept that mobility up. They've kept it a very mobile, very fast tank. Now this Leopard tank, you can see it's actually got the wheels that drive the tanker on the back, those toothed wheels right by the engine. Sometimes they take the transmission, as it's called, right the way through to the front. There's arguments on both